Uh, okay, here we go. And Lon Mark. All right, well, good morning, good evening. Welcome to Sunday Night Live, and almost perfect. 8 minutes late. Katot. Anyway, Sawadee Kap, Tukon. Tukon Ti. Ah, Mung Thai. Logo. Everybody else, too. So, welcome to Sunday Night Live in America, Europe, Africa, and Australia, New Zealand, all those places. And of course, Southeast Asia and India. All right. So anyway, so actually, I think the technical situation is handled this time. Hopefully, it looks like we're all on. Great, fantastic. So let's get started. Let's get started. Um, yeah, you hear me? Great. Yay! Everybody hears me, sees me. Cool. Okay, so everybody's here. So, Swadee Kap, Namaste, Aloha, and Ohayo gozaimasu. I don't know many languages, but just a couple. Uh, so let's do it. Let's do it. I want to remind everyone about our what's coming up. You all know by now that we're about the inner circle thing that we're starting. Okay, and the reason we're doing that is because we need to focus in on each group because there's many people who are, who join this because they have CFCs, and there are other people that join this because of parasitic problems, and other people just want to know about health and healing. All, uh, actually, they're all one, but um, we we divide them up. Okay, so that we can focus on specific questions. Because I always feel like I don't get all the questions answered. I know I don't get all the questions answered. So this is why we're doing this. Okay, and so I won't be able to do live consultations anymore, and the reason is because we're opening our center here in Bangkok, um, and we have Oasis in Arizona, and so taking care of both of those, and then trying to do all this leaves no time left for this guy, and so I got to take care of this guy a little bit, once in a while. So anyway, so that's why I'm going to do it. All right. So get on that waiting list. Just go to um, drlodi.com, drlodi.com slash, what is it? What is it? Uh, Inner Circle, right? Okay, Inner Circle. So that's what we're going to call it. All right. Now, if you have a problem with CFCs, and many of you do, if you're in the US, contact an Oasis of Healing in Arizona. Easy to find online, and Oasis of Healing, or just put stopmakingcancer.com and you'll be redirected to that website. All right, and so that's where it started in on the West. I actually started in New York years before that, but brought it to the West, and we've been there 19 years. So it's quite a place. So you don't have to worry. And by the way, wherever you are, either there or here, I'm involved with every situation. So if I'm not there physically, I'm there cyberly. So anyway, um, And if you get a problem on this side of the world and you need help pretty soon, there'll be help available here. All right. Now, okay. So I just want you all to remember that. Okay. And this inner circle program is going to launch really soon. We're just, whatever it is they're doing, they're finishing it up. Um, and so it's going to have like a members only educational content. There's going to be a private community where we can all chat and share things. Because what I see when I read your guys' chats, you guys know a ton of stuff that I don't know. So I think we're all consulting each other. We're all students of life, right? And that's it. And we're just sharing with each other. In one context, we'll teach someone. In another context, we'll learn something. But basically, that's what it is. We're all students and teachers. Okay, that's it. So now, so and they'll also, in addition to having specific educational content on that specific topic, and having that private community. I think it's going to be on Telegram. I don't know what it'll be on, but it'll be a private community where we're all going to be communicate and answer your questions and stuff like that. All right. Now, wish I could shut that off. That noise, that ding ding. But there'll also be, of course, a monthly or bi-monthly or whatever monthly interaction like this, where you will ask questions live instead of sending them in like you do now for the live streams. You'll be asking live, and then we can answer and interact. So if you have a personal problem, that's the time to interact. We can interact because up till now I haven't been able to do that, so we will. So that's why it's going to sort of take the place of personal consultations. But if you still need one, if you go through any of those centers, Oasis Healing Asia at Bangkok and Oasis of Healing in Arizona, go through any of them, you can get a consult with me. So anyway, so that's why So anyway, so the three groups: health and healing, where we're going to talk about everything from oxalates to fasting to sleep, everything that has to do with maintaining health. Okay. The second group, and it's going to have all the specifics I just mentioned. Right. The other one is the parasite guidance group. Again, parasites continue to blow my mind. How ubiquitous they are, how pleomorphic they are. I mean, I'm telling you, I talk to people and they show me things that come out of them that are, science fiction. So anyway, that deserves its own group. All right. And then, of course, there's the cancer CFC guidance group, which will be where we specifically talk about that. Here's the bizarre irony of it all is that they're all related. You can't separate them, but we have to try. Okay. Now, not try, we have to do it. Okay. Try is a word we got to eliminate from our vocabulary. Okay. Because it means I don't know what it really means. It actually usually means it didn't. Yeah. Yeah, good question there, Stephanie. I'm going to just take this for a second because Stephanie wants to know how important is it to inject mistletoe directly into the tumor. She's been doing it in her abdomen the way most people do it for a long time. And her doctor apparently refuses to do that, probably because they don't know how, and maybe they haven't read the research. But the research kind of shows that it is the best way. So, but you got to know what you're doing and all that. So if your doctor's uncomfortable, you got to find a doctor who is comfortable with it. But it works very good. But again, it's not that just that one thing. By the way, let me just finish up with this: the health and healing group. Now, if you're in the parasite group, you're automatically in the health and healing group, and if you're in the CFC cancer guidance group, you're in all the other two automatically. Okay, so that's it. All right, and get on that waiting list now because so now, as you know, we're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, LinkedIn. You can even live stream it on the website drlodi.com slash live stream. Yeah. Um, and they're all all of those, to access those, it's Dr. Thomas Lodi, Dr. Thomas Lodi. Except for Twitter X, it's Dr. Thomas Lodi MD. I say this every week. I feel like you already know that. It's so weird to repeat things. And by the way, they're all recorded on everything except TikTok. TikTok doesn't do that for some reason. And also, I don't think TikTok likes me. Yeah, they don't like me. So I'm going to now go into questions and answers. All right. Let me just keep this a little bit here. See, not too much technical difficulties this time, right? That's because I got help this morning before I started. Yeah. Okay. So, what do I want to know here? Whatever. Okay. So let's get into some questions. Okay. So, by the way, let me just begin by saying something that it's a reminder that we of a couple things that I think we all know but forget, and that is and it's very difficult because of the our language and the way we grew up and all that. But the body is one. The division into systems is uh, it's just a method by which we can talk about or discuss aspects of that part of the body. But there's no part of the body that exists in and of itself. I'm how do I say that more precisely, more carefully? They're all necessary aspects of the body, of this one system. And by the way, just to give you an idea of how that might work, is because the interstitial fluid, which is the fluid that surrounds our cells, the part in which our cells uh, live and swim, right? Interstitial fluid, right, comes from the capillary, from the arteries, the capillaries, diffuses over. We've got this pool of fluid which has nutrients, gases, hormones, peptides, proteins, and waste that we didn't eliminate yet. All that stuff is what our cells swim. That interstitial fluid that is in all cells is one place, is one thing. So the interstitial fluid in over here is the same as over there, except where? Tumors. They have their own little microenvironment. And that is one of the big problems with tumors. Okay. And we're going to talk about that again and again and again and again. Now, so the body's one. Now, not only is the body one, what is the body? Where does the body end? Is the mind part of the body? Is the spirit part of the body? What's the spirit? What's the mind? All right. Well, that's a whole other question, philosophical. And the point is that we can't deny the existence of the mind. And a lot of people are able to deny the existence of the spirit. I'm not sure how they do that, but they do. But you can't deny the existence of your mind, because in order to deny the existence, you had to have a mind to deny it. Got that? All right. So you can't deny it. So where does it end and where does the body begin? Well, If we had to look at a place in the body, if we wanted to come up with a specific place where it might be, it would be the hypothalamus, because our thoughts affect the hypothalamus, which tells the pituitary what to do, and the pituitary controls most of our hormones. So that's one way. However, electromagnetically, when we look at the electromagnetic halo of our brain and the electromagnetic halo of our heart, this heart is bigger, but they interact. So it's really the brain heart complex. And then you got your gut with 1 billion neurons. Neurons are what? They're cells of, they're nerve cells, brain cells. So we got 1 billion, 100 billion or 200 billion up here, 1 billion down here. Now these guys up here talk to each other through synapses, and those go into the estimated up to 1 trillion or more synapses. Being able to hold how much information? More information than you can imagine. Right? Thousands of laptops. I forget the IT term for it, but anyway, it holds a lot of information. Pretty amazing. Anyway, it's one thing: the heart, mind, body complex, and there's also the body, mind, spirit complex. You can't divide them because the body is not physical. Well, it is physical, but what is physical? Physical is non-physical, right? You get down to the bottom line of physicality, and it turns out to be molecules and atoms are made of protons and neutrons and electrons, and what the hell are those? And you open up the middle of it, you got energy. So it's all one thing. So anyway, I don't mean to digress so profoundly and so much, but I just want you to understand that we are not, so when you think I have, I have breast CFCs, and I have brain CFCs, and fruit on the tree, right? It's fruit on the tree. It's not the problem. The problem, if there's a problem with tumors, it's because they're being manifested by a systemic problem. But anyway, the only difference is location. Wherever it starts is wherever it starts, but it's not different than the other ones. And I know if I were talking to a oncologist, especially an academic oncologist, we'd have a long argument or discussion, and then I would, if the person was actually able to listen, I would show them with research. By the way, anybody who's new to this, I never say anything that is not researched, except when I'm talking about spirit and God and things like that. Of course, there's no research; it's not published data on that. Although there is on psychoneuroimmunology, there is published data on the effect of turning the mind off and its incredible enhancing effect on the immune system, right? Called meditation. And there is data on prayer, how prayer can affect the immune system and healing. All right. So, yeah. Anyway, so with that said, let's keep in mind that, because I'm going to bring that up over and over again with these different things. Please go. Yeah, here we go. Wow. That prior to my schedule on 613 breast. No, Jeannie O'Brien. I haven't gotten any contact from him. So Jeannie, um, uh, I need to way to get in touch with you personally. contact Oasis Healing Asia. Oasis Healing Asia. Contact them. Ask for Faith, or send an email to Faith and tell Faith to get me to talk to you before the 13th, because that's coming right around the corner, and I want to tell you about you need to hear it about surgery. Okay. All right. You got to do that. You got to do that, because usually surgery means there's a no. It's a no with a capital N, not K. All right. Well, Andy, I'll ask Andy then. I'll ask Andy. Uh, did he said he was contact me? All right. Well, hey. Listen. So anyway, please go Faith in Oasis Healing Asia, and she'll get in touch with me. I'll even tell her after this that Jeannie is going to do that. Okay. All right. So now, everybody, let's get on with the questions. Okay, because I got to do this. I got to do this right way. By the way, we're never going to stop Sunday night lives. Okay. Okay. So anyway, the first question is from Tammy, and she says, I would love to know your thoughts on LS lichen sclerosis. I'm wondering if parasites would be involved, and hormones, how to fix them. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, lichen sclerosis. Again, is a name. They call it like it's a thing. It's not a thing. It's an inflammatory condition of the skin. Unfortunately, it usually involves genitals and anus, and it can cause problems like inability to urinate, inability to have intercourse, pain, major urogenital problems, right? Sclerosis really means scarring. And it can happen in all ages, and but it's for some reason it likes the penis and the vulva, right, which are can be scarred up and painful, and it's a bummer. So now what they tell you is, this is, I gotta remind people. Let me emphasize that they say we don't know how the cause. It is not curable, whatever they think, but they can't get rid of it. But treatment helps relieve symptoms and manage the condition. Well, that can be said for all of allopathic medicine. And what do they give usually? Steroids. Moisten. They don't know what they're doing. Okay. They think it's an autoimmune. And you know what an autoimmune is? According to their definition, an autoimmune is when the body makes a mistake and starts attacking itself. All right. I think you all know, I hope you know that that's not possible. The body doesn't make mistakes. Nature does not make mistakes. Why? It can't. It can't. It can only do what's necessary. It can't make a mistake. So, anyway, it's a big deal. And if it's near the rectum, you might have problems having bowel movements. It's a big deal. Anyway, so basically what happens is you get something. It's like fibrosis. Fibrosis is okay. So you have chronic inflammation, right? You have acute inflammation, right? Let's talk about inflammation. Acute inflammation, you bang your finger with a hammer, red hot, swollen, painful, and then in a few days it heals, right? Okay. Now, You keep doing it, and all of a sudden it develops a callus, starts to protect itself. So it's changed. It's called chronic inflammation. And if you keep chronic inflammation going along, what happens is now it kind of the organ or finger or whatever it is starts to lose its function because it gets scarred. It starts to get scarred, and that's called fibrosis. So fibrosis is the infiltration of the organ or whatever it is by non-functional material, and it gets fibrous. Eventually, it becomes like in the liver, it becomes cirrhotic, which means scarred. So, that's what happens. So you get sclerosis, you get scarring, right? So therefore, something is causing it. It's not just happening. They don't know the cause. Something is happening. Okay, now what do we have to do? Well, the same thing we do with everything. So, Tammy, we've got to know. You've got to go to a real biological dentist. And I saw a question on there. You live in somewhere where you don't know where Canada. There is a biological dentist in Toronto by the name of Paul Moon. Is it Paul? Yeah. But you got to get root canals out. All right. So, but anyway, if you have a root canal or you have an infected, if you've had a tooth extracted by a regular dentist, if you have gum problems, inflammation, receding gums, or whatever, you've got to see a biological dentist, and you've got to make sure they're certified by IAMOA. And if you got metal in your mouth, if you have implants, any of that stuff, got to get that done. Got to get that done. Number one. Okay. So if you've got to fly somewhere to do it, do it. Otherwise, nothing else will work. So anyway, so with the skin thing, we got to figure that out. Number one. Number two, parasites. Yeah. Could they be involved? Yes. Yes. And triple yes. And we all have parasites, and it depends on where they land. Okay, so what do? We can't find them, so we can't diagnose them. So what do? We kill them all. All right, and as it turns out, the drugs, the pharmaceutical products that are used to kill them, turn out to turn off all these CFC pathways, and they also, most of them eliminate the CFC stem cells. And are they safe? Yes. What are the potential problems? Well, the liver enzymes can go up. Why? Because you're using so many of them at once, and they all have to be cleared by the liver, so it puts a strain on them. And that's why we do 3 weeks on, 1 week off. And what do we take while we're doing antiparasitics? We take milk thistle or silymarin, which is an extract of milk thistle, or silybinum, which is part of the silymarin. Any of those things. Plus, we take alpha lipoic acid. And whenever you take alpha lipoic acid, you also take a B vitamin, so B complex. You need B1, but take the B complex. All right, and that's liver support. There are other things you can do for liver support as well, but those are the main ones. You also should be taking ascorbate throughout the day, which is vitamin C, and you should also be taking vitamin A, D, and melatonin. Melatonin, my God. It's so important that it'll blow your mind when you find out what melatonin does. But do all that stuff, and then of course we need. What do we need? We need the batteries that operate all these incredible enzymes that run our body. And what are those batteries called? Minerals: zinc, selenium, magnesium, calcium, manganese, molybdenum, boron. Those are like the big ones, but we also have all these micro trace minerals, right? Like 92, 93. Yeah. So, got to get those. And most of the time we overlook taking those. All right. So now, One of the other problems to keep in mind with this lichen sclerosis is that it, like any chronic inflammatory condition, can lead to chronic CFCs. For users that don't are here for the first time, CFC, chronically fermenting cell, refers to the process going on in the body somewhere that is called cancer. Okay, and it's not cancer, because cancer is not descriptive of at all. Cancer is a word that is used to produce fear. It doesn't communicate anything at all except fear. Chronically fermenting cells communicates exactly what's going on. There are chronically fermenting cells. So we call them CFCs. All right, all right. So now, so remember that the lichen sclerosis has got to be, there's something causing it. So you're going to do super parasite cleanse. Go to the drlodi.com, go to find the parasite webinar and watch that. Okay, it's pretty comprehensive. It doesn't talk about lichen sclerosis, but about parasites. And if you don't have a doctor, which is most likely that will get it for you, then you go to alldaychemists with an s.com, or you go to one with the number one mg.com, or you go to Apollo Pharmacies, APOLLO pharmacies .in for India, .in, not .com. And you'll need a prescription, and they have like 14, 15 Indian doctors on staff that you can make an immediate appointment with, talk for a few minutes, and they'll okay it. So what do you need? You need like 3 anti-helminthics. Helminthic is the scientific word for worm. Good 3 of them, ivermectin, got on all of them. You got to have a benzimidazole, mebendazole, mebendazole, uh, and then niclosamide or praziquantel or both. But yeah, and then you need antiprotozoals, and that would be Alinea, which is nitazoxanide, or tinidazole, which is a cousin of metronidazole. And then you need an antifungal. And I saw somebody said, which talking about, yeah, he works, Big Pharma got him. No, Big Pharma didn't get me at all. I never, ever would do such a thing. I agree. I hear where you're coming from. I would never prescribe all these drugs. However, we're dealing with parasites. And in the days prior to the all-out assault on our immune systems, when we were living in more natural, even those of us who lived in urban settings in the year 1900, those urban settings were nothing like they are today. In 1900, there's no electromagnetic noise, toxicity at all. And then they started putting up telegraph, and it all started. And there was no such thing as non-organic, because they didn't really have pesticides. And they didn't have mass media. They couldn't reach millions. So most people were well-read. Most people knew how to take care of themselves. Most people knew how to make what they needed. Most people were self-confident. It was we were different. Now, we don't know anything. Except what? What are we all good at now? This. We can get online. Oh, I can send messages. Oh, I know how to use that. All right. So you got to be, regardless of what you do, you got to be good at doing at working these computer machines. What else are we good at? We have the skills to survive in this artificial world, right? We can drive cars, drive motorcycles, we can drive forklifts, we can fly planes, we can operate large plow, farm equipment, we can operate submarines, we can build highways, we can build buildings, but what we can't do is we can't go out into nature, which, big secret here, big secret. Don't let it out. Keep this amongst yourselves. We are nature. Shh, shh, shh. Anyway, but you wouldn't know that because we keep nature where? In the parks or zoos, not in my house. Yeah. So, but we forget that we're walking around in an earth suit, which just happens to be nature. Anyway, um, so where was I going with that? Whatever. Oh yeah. So we don't know how to live out there in the jungle. If we went to if we're in the jungle, do we know what to eat? No. Some of us do. I mean, some of you have maybe you're a botanist, or maybe you've lived you've done courses for living in the wild or something like that. But that's very few of us. Most of us don't know what to eat. Wouldn't know what's poisonous, what's not poisonous, and we just don't know. We don't know. We don't know how to make a shelter for ourselves. We don't know how to start a fire. Actually, if you're in the where we were designed to be, which is the tropics and subtropics, we wouldn't need fire because we'd be warm enough. I have not ever turned on the heat since I moved to Thailand. Okay, so anyway, that's the fibrosis. Okay, so I mean, lichen sclerosis, which can become fibrosis, which can become what they call cirrhosis. You can have cirrhosis of other organs other than the liver, but basically they become dysfunctional, scarred, and that's so. What do you need to do, really? In addition to finding the cause, you need to get all of the. You need to start using all of the things that we know to eliminate inflammation. Fibrosis is a result. Sclerosis is a result of fibrosis, which is a result of chronic inflammation. Result of being chronically uh, assaulted and damaged by something. So we need antioxidants, right? Such as the ascorbate, vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin E. We need astaxanthin, which is part of the vitamin A. It's a carotenoid. Valasta, all those things in the proper amounts. And we also need um, uh, oxidants as well, right? So we need a balance of it. So by the way, all of the steps that are necessary to eliminate or to recover from, be restored to health from, whether it's CFCs or whatever, are the same. It's all the same. If you understand that any condition that we identify is just a different manifestation of the same underlying process of toxicity. So, what do we do? What do you do with lichen sclerosis? You detoxify big time What do you do with CFCs? You detoxify big time. You go to a real biological dentist. You get a 3D cone beam CT to figure out what's going on. Then you have it taken care of the proper way by a biological dentist who uses ozone and PRF. You do a juice cleanse, 3 weeks minimum, 3 weeks, 3 quarts a day, 4 quarts a day, i.e., 3 to 5 liters a day. Don't eat. Clean the colon. Get your lymphatics working. Get a lymphatic therapist, or just be sure you do a lot of uh, uh, movement and activity to keep your lymphatics working if you can't find a real qualified lymphatic therapist. Okay, now go to sleep early, move around all day, and learn to turn the mind off. It's called meditation. All right. Now, and then also you balance the body. The body's got to be balanced. You got to balance hormones. You got to balance the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system. Big deal, right? Because we're all on sympathetic overload, which is a major, major problem. Okay, major. It prevents healing. So we've got to restore our parasympathetic, and that's usually pretty much mediated by the vagus nerve, a nerve that comes down from the brain, and then and there's it's a two what, what do they call it, a two-way it's a two-way street. Yeah, yeah. The communication goes up to the brain, then it goes down. So how do you increase parasympathetic? You do that by um, going into nature, a forest, a park, shoes off. You do that by humming. Okay, or you just say Om. All that because why? The vagus nerve, first two branches go to the larynx. Humming stimulates. Um, you do alternate nose breathing. That will hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. 9 hots, 8 colds will reset your autonomic nervous system. And there's a lot of ways, but get some material and learn how to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. Big deal. So we balance all those. We got to balance hormones. We don't block them. We don't give something like some sort of pill or some sort of shot that blocks the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. We don't do that. Because why? Because now, why did this, whatever the CFCs happened, why did they happen? Because of a major imbalances in the body, so that the body had to compensate. That compensation turned out to be this. So you don't try to resolve that situation by causing more of an imbalance. And I don't think you have to go to medical school to figure that out, right? Because all of you know, which blows my mind, all of you really know what's going on. I mean, you know what? Not all of you. So then, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about, I talk to people that really don't know. But for example, instance, I had a person I spoke to last week was a nurse from somewhere, and poor lady was on her 5th week of radiation to her chest. After they had removed, on the 2nd lumpectomy, the tumor, they had clean margins. And after that, she went through full rounds of chemotherapy and radiation. I can't get used to it. I can't ever come to the, what do they call it? You get hardened or whatever they call it. I can't get used to it. What? They did what? And this poor lady, she knew, but she couldn't She, I understand where you all coming from. You shouldn't be doing this, but you don't know what else to do, so you do it. You got to realize that you've said, all right, I don't know how to keep this ship afloat, so I'm going to walk off the plank. No, 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 no. At least don't walk off the plank. All right. If you don't know what to do, don't do anything. And find the right person. You'll find them. You'll find them. Okay. Knock and it shall be open. I'm telling you, keep looking, but don't ever do the wrong thing that you know is the wrong. I mean, it's not wrong in terms of bad, good, or anything like that, but deleterious. It's not in your best interest. It's not going to give you what you want, which is resolution of any problems and restoration of health. Right? Okay. Yeah. So you did 5 rounds of chemotherapy. Okay. So, all right. And that's, I mean, you did it. Whatever you did, you did. Okay. Now we can't undo it, but just keep in mind that I can't wait till we have our group so I can share the screen and show you the research. I'm not going to go through all the research. I'm just going to show you headlines. I mean, the title of the study, the year, journal, the year it was published, the journal, and the findings. And you're going to see what they do. And it's not your fault because you don't know. You are trusting these mercenary, evil people. But my oncologist is really nice. No. 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 Not nice. Not nice. Why? Because they kill people. Oh my God, did he say that? He said that. But does he really mean it? He means it. How could you say such a thing? Because I see it every day. And I've seen it for years. This lady, okay, first of all, do they got it all? So what are they doing? Well, they're gonna go just in case there's some, I don't know, microscopic stuff. Just in case, you already know there are. Don't say just in case. You know there are. All right. So what are those microscopic things? Stem cells? Well, not all of them, but all right. So the stem cells are what spread, right? Okay. So how are we? Let's kill them. Let's get rid of the stem cells. Okay. How are we gonna do that with chemo? No. How do I know that? It's all over the literature, all over it. In fact, what does chemo do to stem cells? It makes them increase. It increases the number of stem cells. What else does it do? It allows the tumor cells to escape, and while they're escaping, it changes them from mature cells back to stem cells. I'm not kidding. It's called epithelial mesenchymal transition (EMT). Eh. What else is it? Prepares the tumor microenvironment so that it can receive it. It goes to a nice place. What else does it do? It increases the ability of it to stick to a vein or the lymph, wherever it is, and go through, extravasate through into the tissue and find a new home. And it stimulates the number of circulating tumor cells, and increases stem cells, and other things. What does chemo? Mm-hmm. And radiation. So whoever you are going to be on the CFC group, we're going to go through that stuff, and I'm going to show you that I didn't make this up. But why don't you, everybody who's interested, look up an article called "The Paradoxical Effects of Chemotherapy on Tumor Relapse and whatever." I think you put that in, you'll get enough. That'll be enough to get you there. And then read chemotherapy-induced metastasis. Read radiation therapy-induced metastasis. Radiation. Just look it up on PubMed. Okay, so now you've done it. What can I do? Why didn't I know? You're making me feel bad. I'm not making you feel bad. I'm just telling you what you did didn't what you didn't know. It wasn't your fault. They lied. Uh, uh, so now what you're gonna do? You just it's fine. It's fine. We clean out all the potential causes so we can stop making any new ones. We got to get rid of all that stuff. Yes. Number two, we get rid of this. We and all that cleaning out is a long, big deal. Remember, it's a lot. I'm just saying that, but it's a lot. It's a lot. You do that so that you stop making CFCs. Number two, you get rid of the stem cells with ivermectin, curcumin, vitamin C, mebendazole, doxycycline. Those are the big ones. Lots of other things too, but those are the big ones. Yeah, but those are drugs and don't they on there? Yeah, but they get rid of CFC stem cells, which you don't want because you don't want this to come back and grow and um, end your life. This is not a philosophical debate or discussion. It's practical. How can I be restored to health and keep and stay there, stay in the land of health? I like that land. How can I do that? All right. Yeah, but it's not natural. Yeah, but you know what? We don't live in a natural world, and lots of unnatural things have happened to us. So we're going to have to use a few things that are, yeah, vitamin C is not natural. I mean, IV vitamin C is not natural. Vitamin C is natural. Why do I need large doses? Because I've not had it for so long, because I eat dog food, because I grew up on planet Earth and whatever culture I came from insisted on dog food. And so I grew up thinking, gotta have it, gotta have it. You need it to be strong. Um, yeah. So, uh, yeah. And also my culture taught me that, you know, what some of the best clubs don't open until 10 p.m. You should be you should have ended your first cycle, your 90-minute cycle of sleep, and be on the second one already. Restoring your body, because I'm going to tell you something. You know how much fun, no matter how much fun you think you're having out there doing all that, or you not think you're having, you are having how much fun. It is costing you your life. So the price of admission into those clubs is not whatever they charge you. It's your health, your life. And you won't appreciate that at all until you see the consequences. And I would, you know, I wish people didn't have to suffer the consequences, but I realize that that's necessary. That's why we're alive. That's why we're in the flesh. We're in the flesh. That's not why. Why is who knows why. But one of the things of being in the flesh is that, and by the way, you can't tell someone not to do something for whatever reason. They are in the flesh. They have to do it and understand. All right, kids, we're your mother and I are going out to dinner and the movies, and you guys can do whatever you want, watch TV, but don't go in that room over there. Okay, don't go in that room. Hey, kids, don't play on the stairs. Now, rather than don't play on the stairs, how about this? I mean, I'm not talking about really high stairs, but I mean a few stairs. Let them fall, and they'll fall once. I mean, because how many times do you put your finger in fire? Once. On purpose. Well, you might be. I don't know. I mean, there are strange people all over. They'll do anything for anything. Yeah. But Remember the what do you call it? What were they called? The Wild Boys. You guys remember? Anybody remember the Wild Boys? Anybody remember the Wild Boys? How come this doesn't move? Is that? Oh, that's the wrong way. Oh, it's coming down this way. What? Anyway, the Wild Boys. I don't know if you remember them. The Wild Boys. I think there was they were a bit crazy, absolutely crazy. They used to do anything. I mean, they would go like to these caves with scorpions and snakes, and like the worst scorpion in the world, they put their hand on it. I remember one day they were walking with camels, and the camels got long mucus saliva out of their nose and mouth dripping, and they said, "All right," and they ate it. I mean, they just anyway. That's taking experience just a little too far. Okay, we don't have to go that far. Anyway, but the point is this: if someone's in the flesh, they need to experience. That's it. You can't tell them. That's why we have pain and suffering. Pain and suffering are the consequences of violating the laws of nature. So just keep in mind something: every ache, every pain, every bad mood, every discomfort is an indication that the laws of nature have been violated. Okay, so now I can only one question. What a ridiculous thing. This is from Elias. Do you have any information or remedy for pulmonary fibrosis? My dad has been on oxygen for 2 years straight. He cannot stop for 1 minute. All we can do is give him OFEV, OFEV. Uh, I don't know what that is, but anyway, okay. Again, so fibrosis, it reminds me of the other one here, the sclerosis, the lichen sclerosis. Fibrosis, okay. Fibrosis precedes sclerosis, which is end stage. They used to say end stage scarring, but it's not. Yeah, I have some. First of all, you gotta do the same things. You gotta detox, big time, big time, big time. Detoxify your his body. Okay, green juices. You can put in red, oranges, and yellow, different colors in it too. But mainly, you got to have a lot of green stuff because you need the chlorophyll, because you need the magnesium, and you need all the phytonutrients. But celery, cucumber, spinach, kale, and then everything else you want. Lemon, apple, make it sweet. Whatever you need to do to make yourself love it. Love it. Love it. 3 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. Do it. Don't eat until you have cleaned it out. That alone and the biological dentistry cleaned up. I don't know. We may be done now. Yeah, I'm telling you. There's no thing you're going to get that's going to fix you because you're not broken. Your body's responding to what? Toxicity. How to get rid of the toxicity? Stop toxifying. Ooh. How do you stop toxifying? Yeah. All right. Now, anyway, so we all learned in medical school, and I'm sure it's still taught. I mean, I'm not sure. I know it's still taught that when you get cirrhosis of the liver because of hepatitis, alcohol, carbon tetrachloride, other chemicals, chronic fatty liver, whatever. Any chronic assault on the liver can result in chronic inflammation, fibrosis, and then scarring, which is called cirrhosis. Cicatric. There's another great word in medicine called cicatric. A sickle trickle. They love to use this in their articles. Why? So you can go look it up. And you know, reading medical research is like reading. Like I think they all went to school to become pedantic. That's their goal. Their goal is to be pedantic, right? Uh, and no, it's not being pedantic to use the word pedantic. There's no other word for it. Well, what does it mean? Okay, well, it means when you use language to communicate something that could have been said more simply, but you're using technical language to have other people consider you brilliant, smart, unnecessary. But there's not another word. If there's another word that's simpler than pedantic, please tell me. I'll use it. Okay. So pulmonary fibrosis. I don't care where you got fibrosis. Clean. Colonics. Okay. Now. Yeah, and anti-inflammatory. They give steroids. Oh, you got inflammation, which is mediated by the immune system. Well, let's just knock out the immune system. It's extremely clever, too clever for me. So, what I would say is, if you have now, what did we find? There's a doctor named Bert Berkson who has an MD, PhD. I think his PhD actually was in mycology, which is study of mushrooms. In detail study of mushrooms. I think that's what it was. I don't know, but it was a biological science. Anyway, he got assigned to the liver ward when he got out of training. Oh, yeah. Okay, so TikTok always makes me fix that puzzle at 1 hour. Yeah, not sure why. So Bert Berkson got out of training and was on the liver ward and saw people with cirrhosis scheduled to get liver transplants. And he remembered something he learned in research called alpha lipoic acid, a substance that's made in our body and we get in foods. But it's very, very important. It does a couple things: blocks glycolysis and glycolysis fermentation, blocks fermentation, um, and is a powerful antioxidant. Recycles vitamin C, recycles vitamin E, recycles glutathione, and the other things. Anyway, he found out that. So he was giving that along with low dose naltrexone, 4.5 milligrams at bed before you sleep. Low dose naltrexone has to be compounded. And a B vitamin. Remember, every time you get alpha lipoic acid, you have to have a B vitamin. And he reversed cirrhosis. They didn't need transplants, so therefore, let's look. Can we do that with pulmonary fibrosis? Absolutely. Why? It's the same thing. It's just happening in a different organ. Okay, got that? Yeah. Well, oh, okay. So anyway, anyway, the anyway, so this pulmonary fibrosis, which can happen, it's not just pulmonary fibrosis; it's anywhere. Okay, all right. So, it actually reverses pulmonary fibrosis as well. All right. I mean, in addition to providing electrons as an antioxidant, it actually even blocks certain other things like uh, what do you call it? TGF beta and things that are not in your that are making the problem continue, right? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. So any scarring anywhere. So also with the lichen sclerosis. Okay. Um, and so it kind of really removes all of the stress, the oxidative stress, right, which is causing this, right? Which is the okay. If you're getting hit with a hammer, it's hurting and all that, but the at the bottom biochemical level, it's oxidative stress that's happening and causing the problems. Okay. And it winds up producing, of all things, a hydrogen peroxide, even though it's an antioxidant, to get rid of certain things. It's pretty amazing. But why do I say that? Because um, they were testing pulmonary fibrosis to see if alpha lipoic acid worked, and they did it with people they gave a chemotherapeutic drug called bleomycin. Why'd they give bleomycin? A chemotherapy, isn't that supposed to help people? Well, one of the side effects is pulmonary fibrosis. Well, doctor, that doesn't sound like it's on the side. That sounds like it's right in the middle. Why are you calling it a side effect? Well, because that makes you not think about it so much. It's on the side. Yeah. It's a side effect. No, there are no side effects. There are middle effects. Don't fall for their words. Okay, they lie all the time. Even when they don't know they're lying, they lie. How can that be? Because they didn't learn the truth. Um, anyway, so at Valasta, which is uh, a carotenoid, a fantastic, powerful anti-inflammatory carotenoid. Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, melatonin at night, tons of melatonin at night. Um, eat human food, and I'm not going to get into it now. And if you don't know what human food is, take your clothes off, go to the jungle, and tell me what you're eating for dinner. Okay, stop debating. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Take your clothes off. Don't bring any weapons. Just go with the body you were born with, well, unless you had Pfizer or Moderna. Then you don't quite have the body you were born with, but forget that, okay? Now, and go in the jungle and you tell me what you're going to eat. Tell me. Show me your menu. Let's stop debating. Let's stop looking at research. Let's go do a practical test. What's a practical test? Well, take your clothes off, go in the jungle, go in the forest. What are you going to eat for dinner? What are you going to eat for dinner? You're going to eat human food. If you can figure out what that is. The debate about all this stuff is mind-boggling, and I think it's a distraction. They're distracting us. Why would? How could it become a debate? Oh, it's controversial over what people should eat. It is. Is it controversial what dogs should eat, or horses, or giraffes? Well, it's according to your blood type. Yeah. Well, so is it, horses have 11 blood types. All creatures have different blood types. So Dr. D'Amato made a ton of money and justified a lot of people to say, oh gosh, I'm eating this way because I'm a type whatever. Well, I can get away with it. You got to listen, please listen. Even though you didn't study psychology, just look it up. Look it up. Look it up. What are the defense mechanisms people use? So that they don't realize the truth. Look them up and see if you're doing any of it. And you're going to find out you are. If you look it up, but you probably won't. Because if yeah. All right. So anyway, so that's what I wanted to say about that. We have to please keep that in mind. Yeah, yeah. I just found one of the articles. Yeah, you did. Andrew just found induction of metastatic metastasis, cancer stem cell phenotype, and oncogenic metabolism. Yeah, look up the one paradoxical effects of chemotherapy. Paradoxical effects of chemotherapy. Well, there's the paradoxical effects of chemo. On the one hand, it kind of shrinks the primary tumor, but you wind up with metastasis. There's nothing paradoxical about that. It's pretty clear. Okay. Anyway, now let's go on. Anyway, you can help your father. Do it. Titana. Ultrasound on my neck discovered calcifications of the coronary arteries. It's 50%. It's a 50% deposited calcium in my right and 70 on my left. How can I clean the blood vessels, avoiding my cardiologist's recommendation to take baby aspirin and statins? Statins. You know, I wonder if your cardiologist is really human. That sounds so robotic. Anyway, well, if he's recommending statins, does that mean you have a high cholesterol? If that means if you have high cholesterol, it means you're probably eating animal corpses. So stop that. Now, how did calcium get into your coronary artery? It's supposed to be in your bones. Well, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, all of those minerals have a positive charge, a positive sign, meaning they have an extra electrons. So when they go into tissues, what do? They give electrons and they out. Oh. And if you give an electron to an acidic situation, you neutralize it. So anyway, they're alkalinizing. So what our body does in an attempt to alkalinize is all the different methods it uses, and when the last effort is to get the calcium out of our bones and put it there. That's why you on mammograms they find little calcifications. It's kind of the last ditch effort, last whatever, to produce neutrality. All right, so we get calcium there. As it turns out, that if you eat foods that are not producing acid, that won't be necessary. Number one. Number two, if you get really healthy, like you cleanse your body, like we've been talking about, completely cleanse your body, um, and you're getting lots of magnesium because you're drinking green juices that don't cause oxalate problems. Do not cause oxalate problems. But was that clear? Let me just say it one more time. Do not cause oxalate problems. Well, how can you say that? I've been doing it for not me, just me. Everybody that comes into our center has been doing it, and the people that work there have been doing it decades. And we only see oxalates. Are they? Well, then there must be more of them in vegetarians, right? No, there's more in people that eat corpses. Well, how can that be? We'll go into that. Anyway, the point is this. Uh, if it's green, it's got a porphyrin ring, which is the biochemical, which is the chemical makeup of the chlorophyll, which photosynthesis. And in that green is because why? In the middle of that porphyrin ring is magnesium. So you want magnesium? Eat green, drink green, eat. All right, all that stuff is going to preclude the need of pulling calcium out of your bones and going to your coronary arteries. Now, so do a juice cleanse, do a long juice cleanse, 3-4 weeks, whatever you can. That means don't eat, take lots of juice. Then eat for a while, eat healthy food, eat food that God made, didn't go through the kitchen unless it got just prepared, but not heat, not destroyed with heat. And then go on a water fast, and you'll get rid of that calcium. 21 days of water fast, and you then go back for that test after you did all this other stuff. I'm telling you, that's what you can do. Tell your cardiologist. By the way, don't get a cardiologist. Don't want a cardiologist. It's a guy who's specializing in one part of the body that is absurd. Because what is the heart without the lungs? It does not. It exists. What if you don't have the kidneys? Does not exist. What if you don't have a... There are no systems in the body. Baby aspirin, which is 81 milligrams of baby aspirin. Why? What does that do? Well, that prevents platelet adhesion, which is the first part of a clot. Why is he saying that? Well, because if you have a lot of calcium buildup in your arteries, they're going to be narrowed, and that could result in a blood clot. I see. But what about the calcium, doctor? Don't ask me such questions. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how to get rid of calcium. So anyway, Titana, do what I said, please. Now, okay, interesting here. Amanda says, suffered from migraines my whole life. I've done everything. Are they caused by leaky gut? I've been eating 90% raw vegan plant for decades, 10% cooked soup in winter. Amazing. All right, what a migraine is, well, because a lot of people think they have migraines. A migraine is not musculoskeletal in origin, but more vascular. So usually what happens is there's a contraction of the blood vessel initially, and then it dilates, and that dilation is usually, and we're talking about blood vessel, arteries in the brain or in the head. It's usually one-sided, but it can be two-sided. So it's reacting to something. So in your case, if you're eating raw 90% for decades, you've done a cleanse, right? You've done a good, thorough cleanse, colonics, all that sort of thing, and you've done a fast, right? Have you done a water fast? Have you done a juice fast? Probably. If you anyway, do a good 21-day water fast. Get your colon clean, colonics twice a week for 18 times, and then twice a month. And the reason I say water fast is because on water, one of the main, remember you go into ketosis, one of the main, or the main ketone is beta hydroxybutyrate, which actually restores endothelial function, which is the lining of blood vessels. But work your way up to it. Sounds like you're already along the way. That's a very, I'd like to talk to you, Amanda, at some point, because I don't know what you're being exposed to. You got your dental, everything we say everything is the same. Dental, it's all the same. We have to do all the same things. It doesn't matter what particular manifestation you have of ill health, of non-health. It's all due to one thing, and that's this accumulated toxins. Okay, you know what? I turned the air conditioner on. Now it's too cold. Give me 1 minute, please. 1 minute. Okay. Yes, it's even quieter. Great. Okay, now, so okay, so Robert says Lyme's. We'll talk about that. You've got to go, and your doctor doesn't know anything about it, of course. You got to do all the same things, cleanse, all that sort of thing. But Lyme's is a spirochete. It's an organism that lives inside of cells. Like it's the same family as syphilis. It can be seen on dark field microscopy, but it's been weaponized. What? Yeah, yeah, it's been weaponized. Well, who would weaponize? Oh, oh, oh. I see. You mean the same people that told us about the Great Hoax? Huh. Uh, anyway, so it's been what I have found with if you've got chronic limes and all that sort of thing is very difficult to get rid of. Doxycycline helps, but again, that's good for other things too. So that's good, but you got to do after you do all your cleansing and all that sort of thing. And you might have some other little microorganisms stuff. We have to restore the gut. We have to restore everything. And I didn't talk about that yet, but you got to restore each system. We talked about balancing hormones, balancing the nervous system. We have to balance the hormonal system, not just the sex hormones, not just the thyroid, not all of them. And then turns out what's really what I've seen to be the most effective for Lyme's is uh, frequency generators, what they call Rife machines, to be really. But you got to clean out. You got to clean out. You got to clean out. And but frequency generators, yeah. Now you can also use some of those antibiotics with insulin and do it in very low doses, insulin potentiated botanical therapy. Okay, and that will help a great deal. But you got to find a doctor who does that. There is the problem. Dr. Donato Perez Garcia III, living in Tijuana, does that. um, I do it. Dr. Ross Hauser, if he's still alive in Chicago, does it. And anyway, but again, the energy. Saw a woman who was severely ill from that, and for years and years and years and years and years, and she got one treatment with the right frequency, and it was gone. I saw that with my eyes. I saw that. That's why I got the machine. But you got to find someone who knows what they're doing. You got to watch out for the charlatans because they are everywhere. All right. Now, I'm going to save the parasite stuff for later for the parasite group. Now, here's one by Valerie. My 24-year-old son works for a large construction company signed to a project that he will be receiving contaminated soil as part of renovation. He hasn't told us what the soil has tested positive for, but it definitely hazardous. They are establishing safety protocols. Bull shit. My question is there anything I can have him take, maybe binders, as added protection? Yes, Valerie. First of all, there's no way to talk a child out, especially at that age, out of doing something that they think they have to do. That would be my first thing. Don't do it. But yeah, whatever it is, yeah, binders, sure. Cellcore puts out a good binder. Fulvic and humic acids are the binders, um, and detox. I don't know. I mean, someone's going to purposely go into a hazardous situation that they're going to get chronically every day. Yes, binders, very good. Infrared sauna, very good. Daily, lots of movement, exercise, go to sleep early, make your immune system strong, detox, cleanse, then get your biological density, all the things that we talk about. And don't take the job. Let's find him another job. Let's find him another job. I mean, because I don't know what you're talking about with the soil. Do go get a doctor to do an environmental toxin test. It's a urine test. Look at for the environmental toxin exposure, and let him see what he already has, and then let him get the job, and then have him check it in, say, 2 months later. Same thing, and just let him see what's happening inside of his body. Okay, now this is Renee. Renee, hi. We had a chat on TikTok messages recently. Thank you for responding. Do you offer stays at your Thailand clinic for someone like me who had breast CFCs 1.5 years ago and still feeling the effects of the radiation I had? We don't have stays at the center, but we have relationships with hotels nearby, and we'll shuttle you back and forth and all that. I think we're going to try to buy a large home with many bedrooms so that everybody can live there. And then we're opening up a better real center in Phuket eventually, where we'll have in the jungle. But for now, no, we don't. But it doesn't matter. So anyway, and I'm still feeling the effects of the radiation I had, and I need to do a heavy metal and detox parasite. I had lymph nodes removed due to the doctor saying it had spread, and I had a lumpectomy and breast reconstruction surgery with fat tissue. I had a lot of complications after surgery, one including fat necrosis of the breast and the breast. I had cording at around 10 months to have physiotherapy. I have very tender breast tissue and hardly any feeling in my left breast. Also, I've had spot on my nipple. Same one that I was diagnosed. Since the CFC was removed, I've never been the same. I've hardly had any feeling in my shoulder, my breast, my armpit, a lot of inflammation in my breast. So therefore, anybody you going to get radiation therapy, read this, hear that. Okay. I stopped the breast CFC medication in November, tamoxifen, as it was giving me sharp pains and early menopause. Yeah, and it can give you uterine CFCs. The thing I take now is apricot kernels, natural parasite mix, and a couple of multivitamins. I do fast most of the day, 16 hours, and I need to do this for long periods. I do not see my two oncologists anymore, as they insist I take tamoxifen. I feel like God has let me. Yeah, right. Okay, so listen. You learned the hard way, but you learned. Poison doesn't make people healthy. Okay, number one. All right. Radiation is to be avoided at all costs. So, one of the warnings I'm saying to people here, do not take a vacation at Fukushima and do not take a vacation at Chernobyl. And do not get radiation therapy because it's not therapy. It's not therapy. All right, now, and you got brain fog and all this stuff. So what you need to do, Renee, is a heavy duty cleanse. You need to go get your biological dentistry done the right way and do a 3 to 6 week, 8-week juice cleanse. And you then eat nothing but human food. You need to take Valasta, which is astaxanthin, which is a carotenoid. You need to take all the vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin A up to the max. You want your vitamin D level to be 100. You want your vitamin A level to be around 98. You want your vitamin C level fasting, ascorbate, to be between 50 and 70. And you can only get that if you're sipping slowly throughout the day, because you can only absorb 200 milligrams at a time. You want to get all your physiological requirements of ascorbate, vitamin C up. And wherever that is there, you're going to put on aloe, get a fresh cut big leaf of aloe. If you don't have any around, you can order it online. Get organic aloe. You peel off the top of the leaf, macerate it, and put it on, and then wrap it up and change it 3 times a day. Do that. Okay, and you can even make a paste out of curcumin. You can make of other things like that that are anti-inflammatory, because the damage that comes from radiation is the generation of free radicals, okay, reactive oxygen species. So you need to counter them, right? And the numbness and tingling, you need to be taking alpha lipoic acid, the vitamin Bs, and things like that. That will help you with the neurological situation. See if you can find somebody. If you live near Las Vegas, there's one. There's a big spa that has them. They're called, it's Cocoon Water, Kaqun, KAQUN. You can take baths. You take one bath a day for about 14 days, and off for 10 days, on for 14 days, off for 10. Anyway, it's going to really, really, really help you a lot. Okay. KAQUN, Kakun. Lot of things you can do, really. Okay. Now, here's from Patricia. What about GC Moth? Thanks. Okay, Patricia. GC Moth, if any of you are unfamiliar with that word, GC Moth stands for, okay, so GC is a protein made by the liver to escort vitamin D around the body. Okay, so it's the vitamin D binding protein. And what it does, also, its secondary job is that it activates macrophages, which take bites out of tumors, take bites out of whatever, and show it to the newly graduated T cells from the University of Thymus. Says, "Here's the enemy, get it," and then it goes and gets it. Okay, they get paralyzed by what? They get paralyzed by CFCs. CFCs produce an enzyme called nagalase. It's actually N-acetyl galactosamidase. So they just call it nagalase because it's easier. And that inactivates macrophages. However, if you take the GC MOF is macrophage activating factor, GC macrophage activating factor. If you get that, that will counter the effects of the nagalase on inactivating it. Yeah. So what about it? Good stuff. Should I do it right away? No. Wait until what? Okay. Macrophages have two conditions. They have the M1 and the M2. M stands for macrophage. Okay, M1 and M2. In the M1 state, they're like going after things, doing what we want them to do. M2 is where they've been doing it for a while. Now it's a whole different story. It's more chronic. It's okay. But if the M2 is in a tumor or around the tumor, it's actually helping the tumor grow. It's protecting the tumor. So you do not want to activate M2s. What do you want to do? You want to activate only M1s. So what do? You got to first make sure that all your macrophages are in the M1 state. And if they're sitting around tumor cells, they're probably not in the